This is how I make alcohol prints with just Sharpie markers. And we're going to focus on portraits today, but you could do this with anything. I had one of my students do a clown Spinosaurus. So really, it could be used for any sort of imagery. I just happen to be focusing on portraits because we finished a large portrait unit, grid portraits, which was really challenging. So I wanted to give my students something kind of light and fun to do. So the portraits that we had from our portrait project, I've already printed grids on them because they were doing grid transfer drawings. We've slipped them into some plastic cover sheets, but you can also use overhead plastic and just tape that to the front of it. But any sort of source image, you could even use magazine pictures, National Geographic pictures, landscapes, whatever you like. But it needs to be behind some plastic. I also have acrylic sheets. Those could also be used. So if you happen to have those and you'd like to use them, pretty much anything plastic is going to work with Sharpie pens. So our 3 steps really are to color in our subject. Most students want to outline things and then color in, but for this we actually have to work in the reverse. So we color in first and then we do the outlines, because we know that Sharpies will erase a Sharpie. If you put down a line and then you color over that line, the last line that was there will show. So unintuitively, we have to color in first and then we outline, and then we're actually going to do some patterns in the background. And all we have to do is take this sheet of paper out, and I printed some patterns, lots of different kinds that my students could put behind, some silly ones, some fun ones, you know, different kind of patterns from Google, and that could be slipped in, and then you do the pattern in the background of the face, or whatever the subject is. If you're doing a whole landscape kind of thing, then you have a background already sort of worked out for you. So I'm going to show you a fast-forwarded view of me creating this, and then how we're going to go ahead and print it. So hold on for a second. So our next step is to actually print our image. And I have a press set up, but you could do this without a press if you are able to burnish the back of the print. On my press, I put some duct tape on it so that students know not to go all the way to the end of the plate. And I have directions printed out for them on the printing table. So I have some watercolor paper, but any kind of weight of paper will work. It doesn't have to be a heavyweight paper to work. So we're going to have the picture facing up on the press, and I put it in towards the roller. Second, spray the paper 6 to 8 times. Too much is bad too, and don't spray near the color image. So you don't want to spray over here because that will actually ruin the image. So I'm going to spray like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then it says rub to remove any of the wetness. So as you look against the light, you'll see that there are actually kind of puddles on the surface. That will also get you a bad print. So you can take your hands and just kind of rub on top of it a little bit. The worst that's going to happen is that your hands get clean. I'm using 91% isopropanol alcohol. That seems to work best. I still have a little bit of a shine, so I can go ahead and rub it again. And I feel like I have kind of a dry area, so I'm just going to give it one more spritz. Okay. Now I can go ahead and put that face down on my image, which is our next thing. So place face down on your image. See one little wet spot. Okay. And you want to make sure that you're not sliding it or anything. You just want to place it on top without any pressure. We put the blanket over top, and we roll through the press back and forth without hitting the red tape. And we go back. And again, if you don't have a press, you can burnish the back of the image. It's just important that it not slide while you're burnishing. Otherwise, the image will be kind of unclear. And then we go ahead and take that off, and you can see that it transfers through really well. Then I have my students put a signature there and a 1/1 because it is a mono print. And we write on that in pencil, and we talk about how prints are supposed to be labeled. This can be sprayed again and cleaned off with a paper towel, and you can continue to do more prints. So I tell my students, I'd like to see a certain number of prints in a time that I've set. So we're doing this for 3 days. But I understand that if they put a lot of detail in, I did cross-hatching in here, that would show me that they're putting more effort into the work, so I would accept fewer prints if they are of higher quality. So pretty simple project. It's kind of fun to do. They're tracing. Kids love to trace. It doesn't have to be a portrait. It could obviously be any image that you would like to do. You could certainly do it freehand as well. You could try spraying right onto the plastic and see what that does to the image, kind of abstract designs that you get. But this has been a real successful project for me. If you like my content here, don't forget to click and subscribe, and go to artedguru.com for more of my innovative lessons. Thanks so much. I'm going to add a little postscript on here. If anyone feels like they don't get an even print, like you're unhappy with maybe the saturation in a particular area, there is a way to kind of fix that. You can spritz that area right on the paper, and then instead of putting the plate down, you can put the print down first, and then you can line the plastic back up, make sure it looks nice and clear, and you can actually run another print through, and it might pick up that extra area. So even if it doesn't print great the first time, like there's a little bit of softness here to the print, I don't mind that. I like that. But some people are like, oh, it's not finished. Now, if you spray too much, that color can run. But a little spritz and then lining your printing image back on top of it, you can run it again, and that's one way to kind of finish up the image. So that's a little troubleshooting that I forgot to add on to my last video. Thanks so much.